Yo, YouTube everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, I'm doing an interesting one, man. I'm going to be ranking every single CDL Pro going into Modern Warfare 3. This is going to be an interesting video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Let's start off with a BZ, man. This guy's going straight in the S tier. So, I was having a thought, and I thought, I don't know how I want to do this. Do I want to do this as the player how they were in Modern Warfare 2? Or do I want to do this if I'm an org owner in Modern Warfare 3? Who am I kind of picking up? I still don't really know. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do it based on Modern Warfare 2 and their potential for Modern Warfare 3. How I think they're going to play in Modern Warfare 3, kind of based on them as a player so far, and Modern Warfare 2, all that good stuff. So, a BZ for me is a straight lock into the S tier, man. I mean, the guy was the best SMG in the game just after Hydra. He's definitely going to go in the S tier for me. I think he's going to continue that dominance over in Modern Warfare 3. And then we have Celium. I think for Celium, I'm going to put him in the S tier as well. Now, the S tier for me is going to be the elite of the elite players, therefore the S tier. The players that if I was... I'm going to do this together, right? I'm going to do the players' potential going in Modern Warfare 3, and if I was an org owner, who I would kind of prioritize if I was to pick a team. So far, I think Celium is going to be an amazing player because he's going to be in his role, the main AR role. So that's why I'm going to put Celium in the S tier. I don't really want to do this in order of the teams. I kind of want to mix up the order and just do random players. So we'll just see how this one goes along, man. So... you know, while we're here, though, let's just carry on with FaZe for now, just because, you know, we already done half the team. Now, I think this year, Simp low-key was like a low-A, mid-B player. I think based on that, and I think he's going to improve next year. I do think he'll improve. I think he'll be a better player because of the role swap, because of the situation. I'm going to put him near the top of A. I think he is an S tier player overall, but I'm going to put him near the top of A. I think he definitely can be an S tier player though, but I think his ceiling is going to be an A tier. I don't see him kind of falling below that one. And now for the fourth and final member of Atlanta FaZe is going to be Draza. I think Draza is going to be a good pickup. I think he's going to be an A tier as well. I don't want to put him in the S tier. I think out of the four players, I can see a BZ and Celium being the top two, and Draza and Simp being kind of the third and fourth players, which isn't bad. And this just shows how good their team is, that the worst player is probably going to be an A tier. So that's Atlanta FaZe done. Now let's go on over to some random players, man. Who are we going to go with? You know what? Let's go with Pre-Star. That's an interesting one. Again, we can move the players around as the list kind of goes on, because this is a very difficult list, man. Look how many players we're working with here. Pre-Star, I think, is really hard to judge, because when you're thinking about plays in the CDO as a pro, again, if I think about his year, he had a lot of inconsistencies, but when he was on form, they won 3 chips, man. He's the most winningest player of the CDL, and it's really hard. I think a lot of people kind of discredit him, but I'm gonna put him in the B tier, because this means, like, it's crazy to say, because again, he won 3 events, but he's just one of those players where he kind of does the fundamentals, but he's not the flashiest of players, so it's a bit hard sometimes to kind of rate him respectfully and just where you want to put him, man. So I'm going to put him in the B tier for now. You know what, I think that's a bit harsh, man. I'm going to put him, I don't know, man. I'm going to leave him in the B tier just for now. This, I mean, it's already difficult, this list. This list is already difficult. Can I add another list? Can I add another, add a row below? Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is just going to be for, like, you know, my boy, like, Octane, man, who's obviously retired. So we're just going to put Octane in there. And anyone else that's not playing, we'll just put him in there. My boy Scumpy, we'll put him there. Okay, cool. So that's that. Who should we go with next, man? Let's go over to the London boys. Let's go over to the London boys. Zero, I believe, is retired as well. Pool X, I mean, it's a bit unfair to... I'm going to just put them all in D just to start with, right? Just to leave them here. And then we can move them around. Asim, I'm going to put in C. And Nasty, I'm going to put in C. Because... Nasty, I think, had probably the best year out of all of them. But to be honest, it's just really hard to judge this team. Overall, their year just wasn't good. Asim, again, had a bit of, you know, a little bit of momentum at the start of the year where he was really good. And I just think the whole system was terrible. It's really hard to judge them. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, put them in the C tier, just because I think if both of them get on a bit of a better team next year, they can have slightly better years. And I think they're both pretty good players. Paul X as well, I don't think he's a bad player, man. And we got Scraps as well. I feel bad, but I'm going to have to put Paul X and Scraps in the D tier for now, man, just because compared to the competition, I just don't think they're a lot better, which is really unfortunate, man, because I do like this team, but it is what it is. Going over here again, accuracy. This is hard, man. This is hard. I'm probably going to rearrange my list. Let me just get some players out there, then we can rearrange the list, man. I'm going to put Mac and accuracy in the D tier, and I know that is harsh, and I might get some hate for that. But again, the way I'm doing this tier list is essentially, if I was an org owner, this is how I'm doing it, okay? If I was an org owner going into next year, how would I rate these players? That's how I'm doing it. And obviously, you're going to use the most recent COD as that. But at the same time, you're going to use past CODs and potential to go kind of from there. So like accuracy, for example, he's had a good career and stuff. But if I'm an all-owner now, he's probably not in my C tier, man. He's probably not in anywhere here because I just wouldn't build a team around accuracy right now. So for me, he's going to go in the D tier. Mac is, I mean, if I'm putting ASIM and Nasty in C, this feels unfair, man. This feels unfair because even accuracy, he wasn't as bad, but I don't know, man. This is really difficult, man. I can't lie. This is really difficult. You guys are probably going to flame me in the comments, but I want you guys to help me out, man, and tell me what you guys think. I tell you what I'm going to do, just to make it slightly easier. We're going to put the, not the F tier, you're screwed. We're gonna put the F tier. And this F tier is going to be for players that I think just didn't play well and probably, yeah, they probably might not make the league next year, that kind of weird area. So I think that makes it a bit easier. At least I can put, you know, accuracy in the C tier. To be honest, I wouldn't do it like this. I know I keep changing my mind. We're doing it like this. And then I can rearrange the order at the end. Okay, cool. Slasher, honestly, B tier, man. He did good. He did his thing. Method's retired, obviously. Nero, gonna go in the C tier. I think it was quite harsh on him to get dropped. I think it was quite unfortunate. Same with Vivid. I'll put them both in the C tier. I think they're both pretty good SMGs, and it's fair to put them in the C tier. I think they're both really good SMGs, high potential, but I think consistency their biggest problem. And at the same time, we're gonna have other players around there in the same kind of tier as well. But I think, like, the thing with these submachine guns, man, is you see series from them and you're like, right, these guys were frying, but it's just about consistency. And honestly, looking at this list, there's so many players I see here, I'm like, okay, these guys just aren't the most consistent SMGs out there, man. Dave Paddy, what a guy, man. Put him in the free agent, man. I don't know what that guy's doing, but we'll put him in the free agent. All right, let's move on to Toronto, man. Let's go to Toronto. Right, Kleenex, I'm going to put him in the B tier. I think they played pretty well. I'm going to put him in the A tier, sorry. I'm going to put him in the A tier. I think that's fair. Insight we'll put in the B tier. I can see these three being ranked quite similar to each other, to be fair. I don't think that's a bad take. These three are pretty similar in terms of rankings. I would put them, if I was an org owner, I'd probably have only one of these three in a team. Obviously, Boston have both of them. Scrappy, that guy's final, man. We'll put him in the S tier. He deserves to be in the S tier, joining Selim and Abizi, man. I think next year he'll carry on his dominance. First year in the CDO, and he really impressed everyone. I think he's just an amazing player. We'll put him in the S tier. And then we're going to go through to the last member. Where is he? We got Hixie. I think I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. This is a weird one. We've got one player in each tier. I think with Hixie, I'm going to put him in the C tier. And it's a bit harsh, man, because he came in, he won an event, he did his thing. I just think there's so many good SMGs out there. I don't know. It's hard, man. I'm going to put him in the C tier for now, and we can kind of move from there. Standy, I would personally put him in the C tier because I rate him a lot. I think I rate him a lot higher than other people do. So I'm going to put him in the C tier. I think, again, like with Standy and Hixie, it wasn't really a skill issue. I don't think Hixie is necessarily more skilled than Standy. I literally think it was just down to kind of the way the team wanted to play. So I think it's fair to put Standy and Hixie pretty similar together. Going over to LAG, man, this one's a bit of a shit show, man. I'm going to put, I like him as a player. I like Alec. He had a terrible year. I'm going to put him in the F. I can't lie. Same Air Man of Soul. I just don't think he did a lot, man. I don't think he did a lot. To be honest, out of the two, Exceed I could potentially put in D. I think he did okay. I'm going to put them all in F. To be honest, they were terrible. And I'm going to give Joe the benefit of the doubt and put him in D. I think he was probably the best player. I don't know, man. It's hard because through times of the year, like sometimes Joe was the best player, sometimes Exceed, sometimes Assault. But from my memory, I think Joe Deceives was the most consistent best player out of that team. Again, they probably all deserve to be in the F tier, to be honest. But I'm just going to give him the benefit of the doubt and put him in the D tier. And a lot of guys are probably saying, why is Nasty and ASIM here? Because they had a terrible year as well. Again, it's more kind of what I've seen and the ceiling I think they can go on the next year. I do think at the end of Modern Warfare 3, if you look back, this is the kind of list I'm trying to represent. It's hard, man, because you can only go on what you've seen and try to get potential and all that stuff. It is quite difficult. Major Maniac, he didn't really do a lot. He went in challenges for a lot of the season. We're going to leave him in F. Nothing really much to say about that. We're just going to leave him in the F tier. Awakening, man. Now, I think Awakening can be an A or a B tier player. I just think right now he's got that whole kill whoring mentality kind of thing that everyone talks about, all the pros talk about. And it's really difficult to judge him, man. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Purely talent-wise, I think he's an amazing player. I'm going to put him in the B tier. But one thing that a lot of pros spoke about is sound EQ and how Boston kind of abused it. And me personally, I really hate that, man, because I'm like, if you can get to LAN, you want to try to have the best practice for LAN. And I just don't understand that kind of whole abusing sound EQ. But besides that, I think he's a great player. I just don't think he's... I think he's on the edge of B, maybe towards C. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, hoping he improves next year. So I'm going to put him in the B tier because I think gun skill wise, he is a very good player. We got these two players, man. Envoy's an A player. Definitely next year he's going to be an A player as well. Kenny didn't have a good year. He didn't have a good year. And when you guys are looking at this list again, even now, like the fact that I'm putting Priester at B and then you got players like Kenny at A, it's a bit unfair. And it's not that I'm saying Priester's not good. I just think the kind of impact for the team. And I think next year, especially with Priester not being on a top 4 team, I think it's going to impact him, and I don't think we're going to see an amazing year from Priester. Where on the other side of things, we got Envoy joining an amazing Toronto Ultra team. I think he will really stand out. He's going to fry, man. Obviously, I don't think S tier just yet, but I think he's definitely going to be an A tier. With Kenny, I think is a big what if, but honestly, watching the podcast recently with Optic, I'm really impressed with Kenny. His kind of mind, his work ethic, all that stuff that has been on display, I'm really impressed. If it was before I watched the podcast and his eavesdrop with Hex, I probably would have put him in the B tier, but purely just from listening to him and kind of his mentality and his take on the whole Optic Texas roster and his role and everything, I really do think now he's going to be on the flex role, his comfortable position, he might be able to take over, and that's why I'm leaving him in the A tier. Now we got the boys from Florida, man. Cap, you know what? Cap had I'm going to put him... I like Cap. I think he'll have a better year on the Boston team as well. So I'm going to put him at the bottom of C. I think that's fair. Brack didn't really do a lot. Wasn't really much to work with. Havoc as well. We're going to put Havoc on the top of D. Vico as well, man. I think these SMGs can kind of just go together. This D tier is a bit iffy. It's a bit of a weird one. F is just slightly below D in my opinion in terms of the rankings. And yeah, we're going to go from there. Clay we'll put in C. He didn't have a great year. He didn't have a terrible year. I think this whole Vegas team... Prolu, I think I put him in the F, unfortunately. He just didn't do much when he was in the league with Vegas. I think Temp as well. I think Temp and Clay were quite similar. I don't know, man. They'll probably go near the top of D tier or the bottom of C tier. We'll leave them in C for now, man. I think they had some good moments. Their respawn was terrible. Their search and destroy was pretty good for majority of the season. Just one of those situations, man. I think them two together, they were okay. They had a few moments, nothing crazy, but I think I'm going to put them in the D tier, to be honest, man. I don't know. Nah, we're going to leave them in the C. I like them both, man. I like them. I think they're good players next year. Again, I think in better environments. I mean, they got the Vegas Legion nerf, man. That team doesn't invest, doesn't help them out. They don't have a facility, all that stuff. So I think in a better environment, I can see them both definitely being in the C tier. And TJ, I would put TJ in the C purely on his S&D. He's probably a B or an A player. But because his respawn was struggling the whole year, even with Standy, I didn't see him as a good respawn player. I'm going to put him in the D tier. Honestly, his respawn really let him down. Otherwise, he'd probably have been Vegas' best player. But yeah, I think that's fair, to be honest. I think that's fair to say. Then you got the Rokkr boys, man. They just didn't have a good year. They didn't have a good year. Individually, they're pretty good. They're obviously probably going to split up for the next year. I know there's been rumors of LAT and all that stuff. But going through this roster, I think they're all probably in the D tier right now. I think it's low-key Cammy, man. Low-key Cammy's really disappointed me. Low-key might go in the F. I'm not even going to lie. Cammy might go in the F tier. Bance and Afro probably was the best out of the team. Attached did get dropped, but it's hard to judge him because he was quite a slow player. Probably could put him in the F tier as well, but yeah, I think I'm gonna leave Cammy there because I had a lot of high hopes for Cammy when he joined the team in Cold War. When I saw that guy, I was like, this guy is gonna be one of the best flexes. I really wanted Optic to pick him up going into Vanguard, and it just really disappointed me, man. His career's gone really down, and I wish he gets back to his fine form, man. But I don't know, man. I'm going to put Cammy because I think consistently he's probably the worst player of the team, in my opinion. And yeah, these players kind of had ups and downs. The only reason I'm going to put Bance in the D instead of the F is because the one event that they got top 3 or top 4, he played pretty good, man. He played pretty good in LAN, and I think I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, put him there. But you know what? I can't do it, man. They just didn't have a good year. I'm going to put Afro's being the best player for them, in my opinion. I'm going to put him in the D tier. And you know what? I'm going to bring Nasty. I don't know. This is so difficult. I think because I keep looking at Nasty and Asim saying, if I'm putting them here, is it fair to put these 3 there? Because, nah, I'm going to leave them all in the D tier. I think the F tier should be for players that just didn't play well. And I don't think they're going to improve drastically going into next year. Where all these players, I can see them doing better next year. I can see them doing all right. Okay. Bread, S tier in my opinion. S tier in my opinion. And Sib's a weird one. On this New York team, I'm going to put him in the A tier. I think on the New York team, he's going to fry. I think he'll have a team better suited. The whole team chemistry, everything. I can see him frying in this team. I'm going to put him in the A tier. At the end, I'll rearrange some players how I think. Right now, it's just kind of the tier list. But yeah, man, I think this team's pretty good, man. The New York team, I'm excited to see it. I'm going to put Sib in the A tier. Hydra, best player in the game. He goes straight in that first spot, man. The guy was frying. Best player for a reason. He goes straight in the S tier. Now, Kismet, this is an interesting one. This year, he was an S tier player, in my opinion. He was. I don't know if I'm going to see the same consistency from him. So I'm going to put him in the A tier next year. And that doesn't mean anything bad because he played amazing this year. But I just don't think he's an S-tier player quite yet. Where all these players you can kind of, like, for example, I know it's a bit difficult because Scrappy has only played 1 season. But it's just kind of like, for me, Kismet's a great player. But this year was like an anomaly to an extent. Like, he played amazing. And I don't know if he can replicate it. If he can, then obviously he'll be in the S tier. But for now, I'm going to put him in the A tier, which is obviously still amazing, man. That's not a bad shout at all. Skies is to a similar extent. I want to put him in the A tier, man. I really like this whole New York team. I think it's on... Okay, so I want to make one thing clear. Priester, if it's based on Modern Warfare 2, was on the A tier. Because I'm talking about Modern Warfare 3, from what we've seen and the potential, knowing the new rosters that we know, I don't think he's going to be A tier next year. And that's the kind of way I'm trying to make this list. Then we got the boy Dashi, man. My heart says he's one of my favorite players in the league, man. Dashi is one of my favorite players in the league. I really want to put him in the S tier. I really do. Let me just do this for now. Let me put Dashi and Chotzi here. Now, out of these two players, I think Dashi... I'm going to put them both in the A tier. I can't put them in the S tier. I would love to. And I want them to prove me wrong, but I'm going to put them both in the A tier. I think that's fair. I think out of the team, Pred's the only one that deserves the S tier, to be honest with you. And I think the rest in A is pretty fair, man. I'm going to put them both in the A tier. Kismet obviously had a better year than them too, just because I can see their potential. But I'm a huge Optic fan, so I don't want to be biased and just put them in the S tier. I think ability-wise, of course, but that's like a lot of players on this list. Let's see if it really happens. Illy's a difficult one, man. I'm going to put him in the F tier just because he just didn't have a good year. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen, what version of Illy we're going to get, but I can see him being a C tier player next year. But for now, I'm going to leave him in the F tier, man. We don't have a lot to work with. Hook. Now, Hook is one of the players which I think I'll leave him in the C tier. I think I will leave him in the C tier. He had a lot of inconsistencies, but through those 2 stages, he was very, very good. I think this whole Optic year was pretty good for him because I think it improved and increased his stock a lot, considering he literally got dropped from LAG for free at the start of the year. He proved himself to be a top SMG in the game, but just not the S tier, not the A tier caliber. I'm not going to put him in the B tier either. I'm going to put him in the C tier, man. I'm going to stick him there. Then we've got Fellow, man. Fellow... He did okay when he came in the league, to be honest with you, but I'm putting the D tier. Is this too real? Or I forgot. I'm putting him in the F tier. I can't remember. Probably harsh, but don't care. Ghosty. Ghosty. From the time he had, man, I think it's fair to put him in the B tier. He played really well, man. He played really well. Loki, I could put him in the A tier based off Modern Warfare 2, but in terms of next year, his team obviously isn't going to be the strongest. I think he came into a really good Optic team. He just changed the culture. He did a lot of positive stuff. But one thing that kind of left a sour taste was what Dashi said about his kind of attitude, and Parasite kind of reinforced that point on the flank. He's got a bit of an attitude in terms of arrogance, and I think he will mature. He's still young, so we'll see what happens. But for now, I'm going to put him in the B tier. I think this whole Boston team is probably a B tier team, if I'm honest with you. It's just one of those things with Capsador. Sorry, not Boston. What am I saying? But I don't know why I thought Ghost was in Boston. I can't remember who Ghost is going to. Top of my head, I can't remember. But I had the roster team before. But anyways, I think he's going to be a B tier player next year. This year was a good player, but next year I think it's going to slightly decrease just because the players he's going to be playing with won't be kind of on the level he had now. We have Beans, man. I think Beans had a kind of a weird year, man. He had a really hot start when he came in and he got like a 20 kill game against Optic. And then it just kind of down spiraled, man. And then it got to a point where he eventually obviously isn't on the roster anymore. I think it was a really weird year for him. I'm going to put him near the top of D. Maybe low C, probably with Clayster and Temp I can do. I think that's fair. Next year, I think he'll be an okay AR. Nothing special. And yeah, I'm going to put him there. Yuli's going to go in the FTA. Didn't have much time to work with, but he just didn't do anything. Fame. I don't think Fame played terrible. I don't think he played terrible. I'm literally going to stick this whole Rokkr in D. I'll be honest, man. They were so average. They all have had okay kind of, I don't know, man. They're just all average right now. I'm going to put them there. Kremp, when he came on, I was kind of excited by him, and it just didn't really live up to what we thought. It's a bit of a difficult one with Kremp because we didn't see too much of him, and from what we saw, Obviously, he's not starting in the roster next year, so that must mean something. I'm going to kind of put him in the D tier, I think. Again, this is so difficult, man. These kind of players, these middle players, is so hard to rank. Snoopy, just from what we've seen, I'll put him in the C tier. We have not seen a lot. And yeah, this is my list, but let me just quickly rearrange it, man. So just a quick one, not gonna take too long rearranging it. On terms of S tier, I think that's fair, man. I think that's fair to keep like this. Honestly, that's probably, I would say, maybe could be the top 5 players next year. I think that's really fair in terms of this, based on what we have now and next year. Anything gonna change here? I'll maybe say, I think Envoy could literally be here, top of A. I think Kids will fall off a bit. I think Simple improve this next year. I think it'll probably be like that, to be honest with you. I can see that being the team's kind of rankings on the A tier. A bit weird, bit difficult to predict. It's just gonna be so, look, you could just see the top 4 teams, man, are gonna be obviously Toronto, New York, FaZe, and Optic, and look at them, they're basically all there, man. So yeah, this gonna be a crazy battle. Then we got the B tier. I think Ghosty's gonna be just ahead of Awakening, kind of similar. Insight's quite consistent, and yeah, I think that's fair. Maybe put Insight at the top of the B tier. I think the 2 Boston boys together, and then you got these 2. Okay, we'll leave it as that. In terms of the C tier, man, not much to work with again. Hook, I'll probably put, I don't know, everyone's kind of paired up together. I'm just gonna leave it like that. Nothing really much to say about that. It's just one of those situations. It's really hard to judge individually, but take it as you want, man. This is kind of the tiers. The D tier, again, I'm not rearranging that, man. I'm going to keep it how it is. Hope you guys did enjoy the tier list, man. Make sure you let me know down in the comments your tier list. This is really difficult to make in the moment. I want you guys to let me know your S tier, your A tier, anything, man. You guys can let me know maybe your hot takes for the season, who you guys think will win MVP, all that good stuff, man. All right, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in tomorrow's video. Peace.